Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. Now, I have a special video for you here. A little bit of something I'm going to do on the channel, but also something a little bit bigger than the channel as well. Now, you may remember, you may recall, or may not, I mentioned a few weeks ago the World Series of Board Gaming Championship that's going to be out 2022, September 28 to August 2 in Las Vegas, right? I just could have briefly mentioned it. The Dice Tower revealed that they were going to, be part of it. And then there was a content creator sort of slow reveal of the games that are going to be part of this 16 ring event, as they call it, situation. Now, they reached out to me in terms of saying, hey, we saw your video. Hey, would you like to know more information? We can tell you a bit more about it. And I thought, hey, you know what? That's a great opportunity because I think you guys would be really interested in this. I, frankly speaking, was very piqued on this. If you're like me and you grew up at least seeing a little bit of World Series of Poker on things like ESPN when I was younger, when I used to watch that a ton, like that was always an intriguing concept because especially in those events, the mass appeal, right, was every once in a while, you'd have one of these out of nowhere nobodies. Again, I'm not saying they're unimportant, but some guy, some regular person like me and you come in out of nowhere and blow the pants off of all of the professionals and walk out of there with the win. And that was sort of the nostalgia and the glimmer of hopium. I'm a Detroit Lions fan in exile, so all we have is hopium, hope for the masses, a drug. Anyway, so that's what it sort of brought back in mind to me. So when they reached out, I said, absolutely. So I sent him some questions, Brian, the public relations marketing person over there, and he really gave me some detailed answers that I want to provide to you. Now, I'm going to pull up their website at the same time as I go through some of their answers. So you have a little bit of a visualization and it's not me just like sort of reading this. Okay, let's do this. So here you can see their website, and like I said, about 340, just under, days until it begins. And so they have a little bit of information here on the qualifying games, partners, entry fees. I mean, some of this stuff is up there and some of it is not yet. So some of the information you're going to be getting here is going to be a little bit of a scoop if you're seriously interested. Now, he said that there are 3 ways that you can get into this. This is the information that is not yet on here. Now, they talk about the games. We'll get to that in a second. But we'll talk about which they are. We'll talk about the prize money. I mean, that's the most important thing, right? If you get first place, you're getting $25,000 plus a $3,000, bling, essentially saying, I'm better than you. And then 10,000, 5,000, 1,000. But there's 3 ways, like I said, and the entry fees aren't on here yet, but the entry fees are going to depend on how many events you want to enter because it's going to be over several days and you can enter one of the games per day. So like, for example, we'll scroll down here to the actual games and you can see Blood Rage, Ra, Azul, Seven Wonders, Splendor, Dune Imperium, Ticket to Ride, Settlers of Catan, Carcassonne, Great Western Trail, Terraforming Mars, Brass Birmingham, Dominant Species Marine, Gaia Project, and 2 yet to be announced as of me filming this, which will be out probably by the time this actually airs. And so the interesting thing, and you're going to notice a couple things there, and these were the things that I asked him, so I know where you're going with this already. Now, there are going to be these different games, but you can only participate in 1 game per day. So if all of the games that if you want to play Blood Rage, Ra, Azul, and Seven Wonders, well, they all might be on the same day, and you have to choose which one of the ones you want. Now, why am I telling you this? Is because how your price point entry fee correlates to how many of these events that you want to go into. If you want to enter 1, if you want to enter 2, if you want to enter 3, there's kind of a 4th thing, but not really. We'll mention that in just a second. It's going to cost you different amounts. Now, this is going to be the most make it or break it controversial side of things. How much do people hold this in high esteem and how much are they willing to pony up in the first place? That's because if you just want to play in 1 ring event, it's going to cost you $250. If you want to play in 2 ring events, it's going to cost you $250. And if you want to play in 3 different ring events over 3 days, it's going to cost you $450, which they say they might throw in a 4th ring event in limited supply for free if you're one of those 3 ring people. So that's a lot of money, folks. That's a lot of money. And you have to be out in Vegas, right? You have to be out there in the first place. Now, the other 2 ways, you can win a partnered sponsored event. They haven't read any details known on that thing. Or, as I just saw last week on the Brothers Murph, they are doing giveaways to win tickets as well. Now, I'll throw this out here in the middle of the video to see if you're paying attention. They said that they would also provide me with a giveaway as well for a ticket. So if you are interested in this, I mean, I have the potential to be giving away a ticket here in the near future. So you should be aware of that and maybe click subscribe so you know when I do it. Right. Little plug there mid-video. Anyway, so the next thing, as you see all of these 16 qualifiers revealed, right, is if you're like me, the first thing you go is, wow, we have Splendor and we have Brass Birmingham, right? Talk about opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of heaviness, length, theme, mechanics. You have everything under the sun here. And that was my first question, is going, holy crap, how were those decided? And they said, again, to be clear, these channels that were announcing them, at first you may think, okay, well, those channels were the ones that chose them. No correlation there. They were just the announcers of said games in the first place. So don't blame Watch It Played and Rodney for Splendor. He didn't choose that one, folks. He said that they had a committee come together and choose 9 quality characteristics and incorporate those to get a blend, a rainbow blend, as they said, of games to give to people to be able to choose from. You know, sort of in a sense, you know, and I understand the logic, to balance things out, right? You've got some of the luck fest at one end, as you may describe things, and you've got really the heavy thematic strategy games at the other end. Well, you've got people that are going to play the really heavy strategy games that aren't going to like the light games. We've got the light people games like me who aren't going to like the heavy strategy games. And so if you do your thing in the early rounds and you get to the semifinals, you may play something you want, but there's more than equally likely chance that you may play something you don't want to play, and you might be in a similar group of all people that, you know, are light players who end up with, the Gaia project at the end there. Whew, boy, howdy, you have some interesting times then. Because what happens is after those first 4 ring events, then you've got the semifinals and the finals, and they're going to be replaying, and they didn't tell me how they're chosen, but replaying some of the games from the first rounds in the first place. And so you're going to have repeats there, which may bless some and curse others, depending on how you feel about that again. Now, the other thing you might be looking at, and this was my next follow-up question, was with games like the Gaia Project or Brass Birmingham, right? Those are not going to be the same length as Splendor. So how are you going to manage that when you have to fit a whole round of the whole games? Because, like, if you win a round, you go on to the next round, right? So if you win the first game of Splendor, you're going to go on to play another game of Splendor. And if you win that game of Splendor, you're going to go on and play another game of Splendor. Well, imagine doing that. Like, you can play 4 or 5 games of Splendor in a row, right? No problem. Settlers of Catan even, no big deal. You want to play 4 or 5 games of Gaia Project in a row? Now, and that therein lies the dilemma, and this is what they address, is they're going to have, he said something like 272 tables that are going to be pretty much all full at all times. And what they've done, or what they're planning on doing, is they're limiting some of these heavier games, like this, to 256 total players. So there's only going to be 4 rounds, essentially, is what they've done when they've done the math. And when you have these lighter games, there's potentially going to be up to about 5 rounds, because they can play quicker, you can get more in, and they can have more people overall. Now, again, the question is, are you going to have 1,024 people in all of these games? I have no idea how popular of an idea this is going to be. I have no idea, because I haven't seen this being talked about. You know, I mean, these are all linked to videos that these other channels have done talking about it. But I have no idea the mass appeal to this as a whole. I have no idea the mass marketing or the appeal just in the broader sense. I haven't really seen it talked about anywhere else. So I have no sense of the groundswell behind this or not. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like, especially with the price point. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of other giveaways. I guess Dice Tower's already given some away, they've said. And there's going to be more locally. There's going to be some of those local game store championships potentially. What sort of scale is that going to look like? Because the other challenge with this, and this was my other question, that sort of lingered in the back of my head, is, you know, going back up to the obvious elephant in the room, right? It's in Las Vegas. I don't know about you, but I got 3 kids and a wife who would be very unhappy with me if I just said, hey, honey, you know, I'm going to be gone for the weekend playing board games in Vegas. I have trouble sometimes getting more than like 3 hours, you know, on Saturday night, you know, with the kids in the same room for half the time. So, I mean, for me to go away on a long weekend, you know, in Vegas, that would be my biggest challenge. And so again, numbers wise, logistically, because I feel like a lot of people are in the same or similar demo where, especially nowadays, I just can't pack up and go for 5 days because it's like a full convention. And now I guess they're doing a convention on that side of things too, in terms of other things that they're going to be having during this time as well. They're going to be having the 1,500 plus game library, open gaming hall, other tournament events, and exhibitor hall. So, I mean, it essentially is a convention that they're trying to also have this be the star attraction, this being the center ring of this board gaming circus in a positive way. I'm saying, I'm not saying, anyway, but you know what I'm saying. And so that's the question though, is this feasible? It's a great idea. It's fantastic. This is sort of the thing that got competitive video games on the mass market, right? When all of a sudden we started seeing some occasional broadcasts of League of Legends. We saw some occasional broadcasts of StarCraft. We saw occasional broadcasts of Counter-Strike. That's the stuff that sort of snowballed. And could something like this happen with this? I don't know, but it just depends. A lot of this, when I see things like this, when you have seen things in the past like this, is timing. The timing has to be absolutely right. And if the timing is absolutely right, it takes off. And if the timing's not right, it can sink like a Titanic, if you will. I mean, if you want to see another real world example, I mean, look at, for all of you wrestling people, AEW right now compared to WWE. All right time, right place, right situation, right everything, and to the moon. And so that's the question. Can this duplicate success in that manner? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see. And they even said, hey, if I can get out there, they'll let me cover it. So maybe I should talk to my wife a little bit. Hey, honey, I was thinking a Las Vegas vacation, as someone who does not gamble or drink or anyway. Yeah, I know. She's going to look at me cross-eyed. Anyway, so there you go. So second thing in this video, in case you got this far, if you are a subscriber to me, if you are a person lurking, if you have commented at all, well, here is your chance to become more interactive with me, because I was thinking actually along the same lines before. He even emailed me that I was going to do my own sort of tournament. I don't see a whole lot of other people doing this. You've got a couple people doing collection eliminations, right? I'm going to play all of my games in a week. I'm going to play all my games in a year. I'm going to do this many, I'm going to get my H index at 17,000. Well, what I thought was I would take my games and I would create brackets. I am going to do sort of a March Madness NCAA tournament basketball style bracket challenge. And I was thinking about this and I was going, okay, well, it's kind of silly and why would you watch a video of me just saying, yep, you know what, this seed is going to beat this seed and this seed's going to beat this seed and then this one wins and this one. I mean, that's silly, right? So I'm going to do this two different ways, and let me know what you think of this, because I'm open to suggestions, but this was the first thing, well, this is like the second or third thing that actually stayed in my head about this, is I set up potentially like a 32 team game bracket, because I can't do 64. 64 is way too many, and you'll understand why in a second. 32 games that I sort of maybe bracket off into quadrants. And so 8 in each section. And what I do is I'm going to play those with my wife. And I'm going to do this two ways. One, I'm going to have the bracket for me and the wife. And so I am going to then, after we have played those games, I'm going to get her opinion on which one she thinks is better. And then I am going to subsequently move them into the next round and then play again. Head to head, head to head, head to head, until we get to the final four, then the final two, and then the final one as the championship. Now you're going, well, why would I, that's interesting and all, Chris, but why would I care about that? Well, that's where the other bracket comes in, right? So I'm going to give you the guys the same bracket, and I'm going to let you guys decide how that bracket goes, and then we will compare the two so we can see where the interests, the tastes, and the diversity lines up. And you will have a direct say. I will figure out how to do this. I may just make it comment on the video, make little blurbs of, hey guys, this week's video, this week's game competition is this one. This week's video is this one. And you get to pick just by putting in the comment section. Bullet or exceed. You just write and you respond into the comment section which one you want. I total them up and that one advances. And, I mean, you can choose whichever one you like, or you can choose which one you would actually prefer. I mean, that's the whole point of this. This is a viewer bracket challenge as well. So, interested? Now, again, you're going to have to watch this video in the first place to even know about this, but I'm hopefully going to be hyping it in some of the other videos, so hopefully this catches your eye along with the potential giveaway for, one of those Vegas seats as well. So, a little bit of everything in this video. As always, though, hope it was interesting. I'm super interested by both these concepts. I mean, these are both great things and great stuff. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for clicking. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm going to get you lurkers commenting if it's the last thing I do. Okay. Stay classy. Have a great day. See you around.